Real talk, Christian. Wow. Real talk, Christian. Wow. Real talk, Christian. Wow. Real talk, Christian. It's that real talk, for the Christian walk. 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 It's that real talk, for the Christian walk.
You are now listening to Real Talk for the Christian Walk, because here we don't just talk the talk, we walk that talk. I'm Wesley.
I'm Pam.
And I'm Aleia.
We thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of Real Talk for the Christian Walk. We are at episode 4, guys. We are at episode 4. We thank you so much for all of your support, for all of your love, for liking our content, sharing our content, subscribing to our content. If you haven't done so already and you're watching or listening to this for the first time, we encourage you to subscribe to our podcast. We encourage you to share the podcast with your friends. Let everyone that you possibly can know that Real Talk for the Christian Walk is on the air. We thank you so much for your support, your love, even those of you that have shared constructive criticism with us on how we can do better, how we can improve upon our podcast. We thank all of you for your support, don't we, guys?
Yes, we can always grow.
And for those of you that own businesses or about your hustle game and you want to put your business out there, we would love to help you out with that. We're going to have information forthcoming about how you can advertise with us and get your business out there. And we're definitely in that same boat ourselves. We know the struggle of any small business that's trying to start up and get customers and get more feedback and everything like that. So we would love to help you with that. We would love to help you as you help us. The only way we can do this is if we help each other. No one's in competition with one another. We don't have the crabs in a barrel mentality. We want to see everybody win.
Yes.
Yeah.
We want to see everybody win. So information will be forthcoming with how you can advertise with us, how you can promote your business through us. So stay linked to our Facebook page to get more information about how you can advertise with Real Talk for the Christian Walk. All right, so let's get right into today's topic. Christians want real relationships. Christians want real relationships. So what is a relationship? What does a relationship consist of?
Pam?
Two people
Okay,
that
people
like each other.
People that like each other.
People that like each other.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a relationship pretty much consists of, gosh, you know what? I want to keep saying the word relationship in the definition of relationship. So let me see how I can explain it. But it involves obviously more than one person.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
It involves communication.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much just a relationship is just how you get along with somebody else, basically. There's all different types of relationships.
Well, I feel a relationship is synonymous with a partnership of some sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are different levels
Right.
to partnership, but a relationship means an agreement, a covenant. Now, there are different levels to this particular relationship, friendship, whether it be platonic, or whether it be family, whether it be romantic or otherwise. A relationship is by all means a partnership. Now, this doesn't mean you're going to agree on every single aspect of life.
Definitely
but
not.
Normally,
Right.
normally there is a common denominator between two or more people that bind them together to form a relationship.
Right. In Christians want real relationships. I think what clarifies a real relationship, or what separates a real relationship from just any old relationship, is, when you really care about each other. Like Wesley said, it's an agreement, and it's not one-sided. It's not, I just want to get from you, and I don't really care. I don't care to give. It's a give and take thing in a real
Absolutely.
relationship. And you have to, both of you all have to care about the other one.
And that's something that really find interesting, is that in this generation, in our generation, we seem to care more about what we can get more so than
Absolutely.
what we can give.
Right.
Relationships aren't always, in amongst us as millennials, even as Christian millennials, relationships aren't always about what can I do to better the life of the person or the people around me. We know it's all about how can I benefit.
What can I get? Or I need this, and then sometimes we won't even have our stuff together. We don't even have anything to offer anyone else, but we know what we want to get from somebody else.
Right.
Which actually scientifically is defined as a parasite.
True.
True. That's right. That's right.
That's true, Wesley.
So how many of us, so if we were to do a self-examination about what we contribute to our relationships, if we were to be honest, how many of us are or have been in the role of a parasite?
Me? I have before.
I have as well.
Pam don't want to admit it. Okay, well, maybe not
Possibly.
you, Pam.
Hey, look, Pam, all have sinned and come short
Yes.
of the glory of God.
Definitely.
It's easy to do. I mean,
Yeah,
because
it really is.
you may not even realize it. Like sometimes
Right.
you're so used to that person being there for you, that it just.
And
I
then
don't know,
if you're with someone that makes it easy to be a parasite, like if someone is just so willing to give and give and give and give and not expecting anything in return, but people do that for, they may not have any ulterior motives in that, or they may be hoping something in the future, but for whatever reason, a lot of people do make it easy for people to do parasites.
Well, I don't think I'm a parasite then, because I sound like the other end of the parasite. Because people just like to just,
Well, I mean, I have been.
People just
I've
like
been
to
there
bless you,
too.
Pam, huh?
No, I mean, like, people like to just take from me. Not take from me, but like,
But see, that's the thing. Like, for me, I didn't even realize it because I'm a very giving person and I like to help people. But sometimes in helping everybody else, we forget about the people who are closest to us, and we
Right.
start
Yes.
taking them for granted because we feel like they're always going to be there for
Yes.
us. And then the next thing you know, you just you're off helping everybody else, and you kind of like a parasite.
We have to be careful. We have to be careful
with
with
that person,
because
with the people closest to you.
Yeah.
we have to be careful with that because the Bible does say, as you freely receive, freely give.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that one should be willing to give looking for something in return, but at
Absolutely.
the same time, you have to be careful not to be an enabler to a person.
right. So
You
you
gotta
go.
be
Maybe
careful. So you have to be
I
discerning.
enable people.
You
You
don't
have
want to be
to-
a parasite. I know that's kind of like a bad. That don't sound good. A parasite.
Right.
So
right. I'm an enabler. I enable people.
Well,
yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
I'm gonna go with it.
So as Christians, as active Christians, as active people who are attempting to be Christ-like, what should we look for in a mate?
Well, as a Christian, I mean, the first thing you need to look for is, you need to try to find someone who is also a Christian, and not just a Christian, but that's pretty much on the same path as you are. Because sometimes, we're all on different levels in our Christian walk. So you need to find somebody who, is on the same path as you.
I'm going to say you need to look for somebody honest and trustworthy and on that path, too.
Well, if they're on that path, I hope that they are. But, I mean, sometimes they're not.
Sometimes.
But that's what I said. You're all on different.
Right.
You're all on different
levels.
Different levels.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not even trustworthy and all that, you probably not even really looking necessarily for a Christian mate.
Right. Like,
You might be looking for a mate, but you might not really care about the fact if they're Christian or not.
Right.
I think it's important to when you're dating someone, when you're getting to know someone. I think it's important to get to know the values that they hold dear.
Definitely.
Yes.
That is really important to get to know the values that they hold dear, because you really get to know a person based on the values that they have, the values that they show, what they hold dear, what they hold true to them, what they believe in. Now, don't get me wrong. You can date an atheist or a Buddhist or something that has great morals. Atheism doesn't always mean evil.
Right.
Because if I'm honest about it, some of the nicest people I've ever met in life are atheists. Don't believe in God at all. So morals and values are a part of it, but if you don't believe the same thing, if you're let's say you're married and both of you all don't believe the same thing, if you claim to be a Christian, the blood's going to be on your hands if your household is not covered in the blood of Jesus, which it can't be if you have if you making a covenant with someone who doesn't believe.
Yeah. You're right.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's like I said, it just goes back to what I said in the first place. Like, you need to make sure that you're on the same Christian path. And I mean, if you're not, it's going to be problems. I know from experience. When I was dating my husband, we were dating, he wasn't my husband then, of course. So, we shared a lot of the same morals and values, but he really wasn't raised in church, and I was, and there were different morals and stuff that I cared about that weren't necessarily a big deal to him. So it did kind of present problems, but I mean, my husband is not an atheist.
Definitely not.
I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I said, if you're not on the same levels, you're not going to feel the same way. You might feel like it's okay to do something, and then the other person might feel like, no, that's not okay. So you got to be on the same page in your walk, or else it's going to be some issues.
Right.
I mean, well, that was very, very important. What you said there, Aleia, because the Bible does speak about dating a healthy person, being in line, dating someone that is in line with your spiritual life. Matter of fact, 2 Corinthians 6
there you
and
go.
14.
Pull it up. Put that scripture.
2 Corinthians 6 and 14 says, don't team up, and this is the New Living Translation. Don't team up with those who are unbelievers. How can righteousness be a partner with wickedness? How can light live with darkness?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Bam.
true.
Boom.
It's a good one. Word.
Yes. So I mean, that's the first thing. If you're a Christian and you want, and that's the way that you're trying to go. So you got to get someone else who shares the same Christian values, and then y'all can start talking about your other morals and stuff. You know, that stuff that you talk about. Do you want kids? Do you not want kids?
Right.
You know, you got to put stuff like that on the table. What do you expect of me? Do you expect me to work? Do you expect me to stay at home and take care of the kids and clean the house? You know.
Oh, what market are they on?
Y'all got to talk about, stuff like that as well. After you get past the initial, this is what I'm looking for, in a mate, as far as being a Christian. Okay, now we both Christians, we both on the same path. Then you got other stuff that you got to discuss.
You know why I think a lot of relationships don't work out in these days? Because we want someone to fill a space, but yet we are not whole and healthy with ourselves.
That's right.
Right.
The first person you should date is yourself, I believe.
I agree. Yes, you better say
right.
You have got to get to know yourself. You have got to fall in love with yourself
Yes.
first.
You better say that. I love long
And
trips
if you
to the
don't
bank.
stand for something like you're gonna fall for anything. If you don't love yourself, then you're gonna fall. Anybody can tell you anything about yourself.
Yes.
But if you in love with yourself and you know yourself, you're gonna be like, no, that ain't.
You know what? I can take myself to the movies.
You better say that.
I can take myself to the beach. I can take myself to the bank.
Yes.
I can have dinner with myself. Matter of
Yes.
fact, I can have a whole conversation with myself at the dinner table.
Please don't answer.
Now, you ain't crazy if you talk to yourself. You're crazy if you talk back to yourself.
Right. I talk to myself, y'all.
Well,
Well, shoot, just like that song. Sometimes you got to encourage yourself.
Encourage yourself.
You're
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people, it's impossible for you to give love to another person that you don't have for yourself. So I think it's really, really important. You ever have friends? You ever have friends that you notice that they literally go from guy to guy or from
Yes.
girl to girl?
Yes.
There's hardly no period when they're single.
Right.
Right.
Like no period at all. Like 1 minute you say, 1 minute you like we all have those friends that are like, oh yeah, we broke up. I got a new boo now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I done moved on from her. I got a new old lady. I got a new old lady now. No time to spend with yourself.
Mm-mm.
You've got to enjoy you first.
Yes.
You've got to know you. And once you prove to yourself that you love yourself, once you have that love yourself, it's nothing to give love to someone else at that point.
Right.
That's
Because you're fully confident in who you are.
Mm-hmm.
No matter, you can have someone all day pump your head up and prime you up about how awesome you are, but if you don't believe it for yourself, it's going to be ineffective.
That's right.
Right.
It's not gonna do anything.
That is one of the most important lessons I've learned in singleness. That was one of the most important lessons I learned in singleness, to love myself and fall in love with myself. Love every imperfection about yourself, so that I can be healthy for the woman that God has for me.
That's
Okay.
right. And y'all know what else? Why people so superficial? Like, we talking about how to look for a mate, but people just looking at the exterior all the time. You know what I'm saying? We so caught up with what a person look like. And then they don't even have nothing together. We are so caught up in
I'm not going to say looks don't matter.
I'm not saying looks don't matter, but I'm saying looks can't be the only thing. That cannot be your main focus.
That would definitely
Looks should not even be your main focus.
Yeah, that'll definitely.
They're nice. Everybody. Come on, we'll be lying if we didn't say
Right.
that.
Right.
Right.
That it don't matter.
Looks will bring you to the table, but it won't necessarily keep you.
It ain't
It
gonna
shouldn't keep you at the table alone.
But people are so caught up in that. Like, we are living in such a superficial world that, we'll let somebody treat us any kind of way based upon how they look or how much money they have, and we'll just sell our soul.
Because if we're honest
for
about
the superficial.
I'm sure we all have stories of when we've dated someone that was absolutely gorgeous or absolutely fine, but because of how their attitude was, it just made them uglier.
Yes, attitude is everything. You're right about that.
Your personality, that it gets me. It gets me.
What gets me is, because I'm real big on pleasantry and being nice and being able to hold a decent conversation, being able to hold an intelligent conversation. Like, you can be fine as Beyonce. If you can't do none of those things, then you just went from a 10 to a 4.
Right.
But sometimes that's the world that we living in. Sometimes it doesn't matter. It don't matter. I mean, I've had my experience. I'm pretty sure that all of us up here, I know I have. You like somebody, you got a crush on somebody. This is back in the day. I'm talking about crushes, so. And then you finally get the opportunity to meet that person or talk to that person, and then
Sound good?
oh, I'm sorry, Siri.
Siri said that doesn't sound good.
Siri got something to say on today.
Oh, Siri, she's
You better
right for
preach,
that.
Sister Siri.
But you finally meet them, and it's nothing like you thought.
Right. But
It's nothing like you thought.
that's outside of just like relationships, like boyfriend, girlfriend. Also, because if you meet somebody, say for example, you're in business, and you
Put Siri
they
over
set it
there.
out for this person, like social media. Oh yeah, you may want to work with them. Then you meet them, then they open their mouth, and it just kill the whole thing.
That's what I'm
Yep.
talking about.
Done, wrap. Like no, so yeah, even that's in everything. I think like. Other
That's
than just
we
dating, that's
gotta really get to people's heart. That's what matters. What's in your heart? Because what's in your heart is going to display from the way that you treat people, the way that you act, and the way that you carry yourself, not by the way that you look.
Yes.
So, on behalf of all brothers everywhere, I just have to ask y'all a question.
Go ahead.
Why y'all so hard on us all the time?
And the same reason y'all so hard on this. Just because somebody on Instagram got on 2 little clothes, somebody else's face, somebody else's hair, somebody else's lashes, somebody else's nails, these mine. They for real. But
She always
with
says
Pam.
that. Those are her real nails,
can't.
I'm
everybody.
just saying, that's how y'all think everybody Instagram model.
That's true. I think it goes both ways.
Right.
And then, to me, a lot of women are not hard enough, to be honest with
That's
you.
right. That's right. 'Cause
Okay,
I need to learn
okay.
to crack the
So
whip.
what should a woman expect from a man? What should a Christian woman expect from a Christian man?
A Christian woman should expect for a Christian man to, number one, be able to be the head of your household.
Yes, to be able to lead.
You are supposed to be a provider, and it's nothing wrong with a woman working and contributing, but at the same time, a man is supposed to be the head of the household.
Yes.
And so I think that
Let's define. Hold on. Let's pause right there.
Okay.
Define from a woman's perspective. Define head of the household.
A leader, somebody that's able to lead. Like, what do you mean?
That's what I'm asking. What is the head of? To you, what earns the man the right to be called the head of the household?
Somebody that can lead, somebody that can hold it down, somebody that can be the head, somebody that can like.
So it doesn't matter if he
The
makes
head
more,
has
so
the
it
final
doesn't matter
say.
if you make more money than him or he makes more money than you. That has nothing to do.
That
with
has
it.
nothing to do
That has
with it.
nothing to do with it. It's all about how you handle your finances.
That has nothing to do with it. The head of the household has the final say.
I'll say that I really
But
don't believe.
The head of the household still has to.
We struck a nerve with Pam talking about the final say.
The head of the household has
And
the
we're gonna
final
talk about
say.
that in a minute.
But the head of the household has a responsibility to consider everyone who's living in the house. It's not all about just what the
Right.
head of the household wants to do. Now, don't get me wrong, because that's not what I'm saying. The head of the household has to be mature enough
Right.
to know that I have other people in this house to consider their feelings, to consider their well-being. And so I'm not just going to be out here doing anything I want to do just because I'm the head.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like everybody
Absolutely.
got to do what I say. No, it's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But the head of the household should have the final say. But the head of the household should be mature
Right. I will say that.
in choosing what the final say is.
That's why the Bible says that wives submit to your husbands and husbands submit to your wives. And husband as he's submitting unto God.
Right.
Because he should be seeking God for how to guide his family.
Yes.
Right.
I believe that's the number one thing a woman should look for in a man. Does he submit himself to God? I am a firm believer that you cannot be a good leader unless you are first a good follower.
Right.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I am a firm believer in that. And that's a huge thing for men because men don't want to submit to nobody. You know, the society has made this connotation that he's less than a man if he's submitting to another man. That's why you have a lot of men that don't like to go to church or don't believe in God or whatever, because their attitude is, I don't submit it. I ain't submitting to nobody. But you have to, but how can you give leadership if you haven't been under good leadership? How can you give leadership if you haven't practiced good fellowship? And the Bible is the best roadmap to follow on how to lead your family.
That's right.
So you have a lot of men that talk about how they want to lead or whatever, but they haven't been led anywhere. So if you haven't been led anywhere, you don't have a roadmap to take your wife and your children anywhere.
Right. And that's why if you followed my advice and found you someone who shares the same Christian values or that you have, then hopefully you will have found you someone who is mature enough and spiritual enough to put God first and to trust in God in order to be ordered on how to, to run your household.
How to handle business.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the emergence of the independent woman.
Independent women.
It's really not good. Like, but you would have asked me this question right here, like, probably about 3 years ago. I might would have said something different. And so I've grown enough to be able to say that being an independent woman is nothing to brag. It's nothing to brag about when it comes to your relationship. Because I mean, if you're gonna be working towards marriage, then are you gonna be independent? Should you be? You're not gonna be independent. You see what I'm saying? Because you're in a partnership. If you're in a partnership, it shouldn't be no independence.
Pam is just itching to give her 2 cents.
I love my sister to death.
I mean, that's just.
Oh my goodness, I'm ready. I'm ready.
I just feel like even in relationships, partnerships, marriages, I'm not married, but I don't feel like people should lose their independence within that. Yeah, I can see it kind of merging a little bit, with y'all making decisions together on things, but.
So you disagree with Aleia when she says the man should have the head to say as head of the household?
No, I'm not going to say that, because in a marriage, you should follow what the Bible tells you, and he is the head. But I can't say now, if he leading me down the wrong path, that I ain't going to say, hey, detour, we going the wrong way, because I'm going to say something.
That's not that don't got nothing to do with being necessarily independent. I mean, I guess it do. I guess it does.
Talking about.
I mean, but we just
see, he did it on
but
purpose.
we just said the Bible says.
Purpose.
But we just said it. The Bible says that you're supposed to submit.
But see, that's what I'm saying. I'm not married. Like, I'm not.
And that's slick. You know what? That's slick. Why a lot of women don't want to get married, because they don't want to have to submit according to the Bible.
But like I said, if you would have asked me 3 years ago, like, I feel you, Pam. It's a growing thing. It's something that you have trust and believe me when I tell you. It's something you got to grow into. You know what I'm saying? But let me tell you how my life is so much better.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? Let me tell
Yeah,
you that.
Lord.
I wish I would have learned it
Uh-huh.
a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I'm not perfect. I have my moments.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm so much better. I'm in a different place in that area because I want to work. I wanted to work, have my own money. And a woman, it's nothing wrong with being able to stand on. Because what if something happened to your husband? You know, what if something happened to your husband and you needed to carry on your life or whatever, and you had to carry on your life by yourself for a little while? So it's nothing wrong. That's what I'm saying. It ain't nothing wrong with a woman working. It's nothing with a woman knowing how to handle her business. But if you in a marriage, it really shouldn't be no independent thing because it's a partnership. It's two of y'all.
Right.
So trust me, sister.
I feel it be that wife.
I know.
They got a whole nother account. Because like,
but we gonna pray about that.
Yeah, because I'm just we gonna get there.
But I mean, it's
something.
something.
I wouldn't say it's what
something.
Wesley's saying about being submissive and all that stuff. Because you can submit to your husband, but as far as certain stuff, I just still feel like there should be some independence. Like,
I mean, me and my husband, and I'm putting my business out there, but me and my husband do not have we have separate accounts. Everything, I ain't got to that level yet either. So, but let me tell you this: my husband's name is on my account, and my name is on his account. You know what I'm saying? That's a baby step. You know what I'm saying? In the right direction. But to be honest with you, I don't go in his account without, and get no money out his account. He don't go in my account and get money out. We both have a separate account, but at the same time, we decided to put each other's name on it because, we're married, and you really should be working together.
Right. Now, I've had a joint account with my dude. I mean, my name was on his account. It was his account. It wasn't my account. But in the midst of it, I did have a secret account that was attached to that account. And then, the mail.
See, but I'm glad you don't have that anymore.
And it was like, what's this money? Oh, but
yeah, trust me. I know, honey, I get it. I know it is hard.
Yeah,
it's hard.
I'm just not gonna lose myself in a partnership. Like, I talked to this lady one time. She told me like her husband just up and left her. She let him be the head. She let all the bills were in his name. The house was in his name, but she was the beneficiary and all this stuff or whatever. And he just up and decided after 30 years he didn't want to be married anymore. And I was like, oh. She ended up getting a house. But she had to start over with Georgia Power, Atlanta Gas Light.
You still gonna have to do that anyway, regardless if y'all got money together or not. That don't matter.
But I don't know.
And things happen. I mean, you can't control that.
Thing
you just gotta pray on it.
I'm gonna continue to pray.
Let me say this. Now,
go with the shoulder,
I understand why women have this independent attitude. It's because of the trifling duplicity of men.
You better come on now. That's all it is.
In years past, because men have not stepped up and done what they were supposed to do. And we might not have time to cover all of that in this podcast, but there is a systematic reason. Let me say this. Okay. There has been a systematic plan to break down the black family, and it is working beautifully.
Right.
You come on now.
We can go all the way back to the 1970s when the projects were created. Right. Now, if you watch episodes like Good Times, they were in the projects, but notice how the husband and wife and family were all allowed to live in the same household. That's how it was originally supposed to be for the family who was low income. They were trying to get ahead, but they were low income, and then eventually the goal was to make your way out of the projects.
Yeah.
Now it's designed to where if you live in the projects, the man can legally not be anywhere in the home, and all the woman has to do is pop out a baby and she gets the world handed to her on her feet. Most people aren't going to leave that situation, and it's pretty much kick the man out of the home. Now, I could get a whole lot deeper into that, but what I'm trying to say is for a lot of reasons. I'm not making an excuse by any means for a man, because at the end of the day, I believe a man needs to handle his business.
Yes.
But a lot of women have seen guys that like to take advantage of the system or blame the white man, quote unquote, for that. And black women have moved on and gone on about their business and done their thing. There's a systematic thing behind that too, with it being that you can kill birds with one stone and hire a black woman to do this job where you're hiring somebody black and you're hiring a woman, so you're killing racism and sexism with the same stone. So for that reason, black women have been given a lot more opportunities. Again, not making excuses, but I'm just saying there has been a systematic plan in place to break down the black family, and it is working to the point to where it is turning our black women against us against us black men. So now you have a lot of women, because they're going to college, because they're getting high paying jobs, because they're starting businesses, because they're being mobile. Now what's happened is they're looking down on the black man, and they're like, I'm earning more than you, I'm more educated than you, I have my own everything without your assistance. So a lot of women, and to some degree rightfully so, are saying, if you can't come to the table with this, we ain't got nothing to talk about. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. I 100% get it. But where it's become toxic is now you have black women that are saying, I don't even want a husband. Just give me a Stedman and I'll be fine.
Yep, that's true.
What kind of foolishness?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now, even if it's gotten so bad now that even if the man has the right qualification, if he's attractive, if he has an education, if he has a good job, if he takes care of his responsibilities, the black woman has gotten so independent and so about handling her business that she just looks at a man as convenience, not as someone who can lead her. Because don't get it twisted, ladies and gentlemen. Being a leader is not just about paying the bills.
Right.
Being a leader, according to the Bible, being a leader is someone that leads his family to Christ. You may out earn him, but if he can lead you to Christ, if he can get your spiritual life together, if he knows how to be a provider financially, spiritually, emotionally, if he knows how to be your biggest cheerleader, you've got yourself a gold mine. And what I want to see, I look forward to the day where black women honor our black men and black men honor our black women.
That's what I was about to say. I was going to say it's not just the women.
I'm not saying it's just the women, but I'm just I'm just trying to show you what has happened that has turned black men and black women against each other. Right. The systematic system that's been put in place to turn us against each other. And it breaks my heart that it's working.
Yes.
Well, I'm so glad that you're done, because I got something for since you want to talk about the independent woman, let's talk about the intimidated man that's intimidated by that income. That's intimidated.
I was waiting on that.
Because that's an issue too. Like that's a real issue, because you got some men, because you notice how you kept talking about the woman earning more money. Yeah, we winning out here in these streets. But what I'm saying is there are a lot of men that are intimidated by a woman that can hold her own.
Right.
So intimidation is real. You talking about an independent woman?
So you're saying a woman is, so men are intimidated by a woman's earning power?
As you just said, the system has it all set up for the black family to fail, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm not gonna say every black man, but let's take our county, for example, Bibb County. If we were to go and take a poll on how many black men have actually been to jail, okay, so therefore that's already 1 point against you. So therefore you already have, depending on what you were locked up for, if you're now convicted felon, that's already limited some of your, what you can become of yourself. So therefore, yeah, you may get a woman that's going to make more money than you. But as you said, he should be a leader and be able to lead you to Christ, whether he got the money or not. But you can't do that through intimidation. If you intimidated by this woman that you so-called are supposed to be leading, how any of y'all gonna get to Christ?
But I'm finna play the devil's advocate.
I don't even
because
believe. I mean, I don't believe it's even most men that are intimidated by successful women. A real man is going to celebrate a woman for her success, because this is what so many people miss out of relationships nowadays. We aren't willing to take the personal pronoun I out of relationships and put in the pronoun us. We look at it, we have this I mentality in relationships. If you're going to have a successful relationship, you can't have an I mentality. Now, I do agree with Pam when she says that you shouldn't lose a sense of independence. A woman or a man should not lose themselves in another person. But at the same time, you have to understand you are entering into a partnership. You're entering into a partnership. So it's not just about how this is going to make you better or me better. How is this going to make us better? Because this is what we don't understand. Marriages really aren't about two individual people.
Right.
Marriages are about building a legacy that will continue on beyond you.
Right.
That's what we miss. We're so focused on the here and now, we don't think about the future. We don't think about what we're imparting into our children, what we're imparting in our grandchildren. We've got to be careful about the attitudes that we have, because the attitudes that we have, whether you personally bear children or not, whether you personally plant a seed in someone and birth children or not, your attitudes are affecting the next generation and the generation after that.
But then that's another thing. Like, our generation is living out the generational curse, if you think about it. Because, you know, when you're talking about the projects and stuff like that, these people just living through what they've seen. Most people. But, you know, we got to get past that too, because if we don't ever break the generational curse and get in the gap, how we going to...
That's why we gotta have a better setup in the beginning. And I was just going to say that I was playing a devil's advocate about the whole topic on a man being intimidated. But sometimes a woman, we cause that, because if we make more money, we hold it over a man, or we throw it up in the man's face.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I just had to play the devil's advocate, you know, for the men to say that we have to learn. If you make more money than your mate, then you still ain't got to be acting like you the head of the household. You can still let them be the head of the household.
Within a marriage, let me preface it by saying that within a marriage, that's no reason to feel intimidated because she makes more money. Because guess what? If we're in a marriage, it's my money anyway, or our money rather.
It's our money.
It's our money.
It's our money.
Because guess what? If you just got a promotion, guess what? We got a promotion. So if my wife is out earning me, I ain't gonna get jealous, because that's gonna bless the household.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So that's why I'm just like,
and it's
the
not
whole
a
independent
competition.
Thing is just,
it's not a competition.
Out of control.
It's not a competition of, well, no, you gotta outdo me, or I gotta outdo you, or I should get the bigger piece of chicken since I'm making the moment. No, it's not about that.
What the chicken gotta do with
this? Is a partnership.
It's a partnership.
Yeah.
All of it is going in the same pot. If you winning, we winning.
Right. But I mean, what's the reality of people actually seeing it like that though?
That's why we're here.
That's why we talking about it.
I want everybody to win. You know. So, I can definitely see that.
We got to be careful. And I also was going to say, like I said, I was just playing devil's advocate. I also was going to say that it ain't just the women who get high and mighty.
Right.
And it's, you mess around and find a man that has a good job. Ain't got no kids.
Right.
They be looking at women too now, like, honey, you ain't on my level. Yeah, how many kids you got? So it goes both ways.
Right.
It goes both ways.
I mean, that particular one goes.
That whole independent, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's just
because you do have some narcissistic men that just know they're good looking and have a high powered job, don't have any good, they act like they're God's gift to women and they should want them simply because of that. Right. You do have that, but And I think it's because now going back on independent women, I think partly that's because, and don't get it wrong, even though there are some advantages to being a woman due to affirmative action, you know, the reality is men still out earn the women by about 33 cents. So women do have to fight harder and still have to fight twice as hard to get half as far, and that sense of accomplishment that a woman did it, especially on her own without the assistance of a man or the assistance from anyone, that gives her a sense of accomplishment. And when you feel a sense of accomplishment, naturally you're gonna be excited about it and maybe be a little braggadocious. But I don't believe, and certainly that's something to be celebrated, but I don't believe that's something that should be used against their male counterparts.
Right.
Right.
I'm going to just say this as a lady. Ladies, we have to know how to, it's nothing wrong with being secure in yourself and be able to hold your own, but we have to listen. It will just bless you if you learn how to let your man be the man. That does not mean you are losing yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way we look at it.
Right.
And so that's why we get so mad and want to be so independent, but then that's how we end up by ourselves. That's how you end up by yourself. So you have to learn how, as a mature woman, you have to learn how to silently hold your own.
That's something that my mom said to me one time, who's been married to my dad for 47 years. She said, my husband is the head of our household, but I'm the neck. And if you know anything
Yes.
about human anatomy, a head cannot turn without a neck.
Come on now. Yes.
So
Miss
what that
Sanders.
means is that my dad does have the final say in the Sanders household, but it's my mom that's silently making moves, saying, Charles, here's what I think, and then planting seeds,
Right,
and doing things
Come
like
on.
that, because
yes,
that is a woman that knows herself, that
That's a mature
knows
woman.
how to use her femininity
That's
to
right.
properly guide the household.
That's a mature woman. And guess what? A man will, ladies, you'll get more of what you want. You'll get more. That independent woman, that whole independent woman routine, baby. If you got a real man, that's gonna work against you.
Yeah,
That's gonna work against you. You gotta get on Miss Sanders level.
That's
You know what I'm saying? Because a man will appreciate you so much more, and you will get more of what you want to do. What you want, you'll get
and
more.
then
of
guess
it.
what? He'll want to do it.
He'll want to do it, right? That's what
Not
I'm saying.
because he felt pressure to you,
Right.
but your little attitude and your little
Yes.
finger waving and your
Right.
neck rolling. He'll want to do it because he wants to make his wife happy.
Right? Because see that neck rolling and attitude, and it's just gonna be like, no, I ain't finna do that. She ain't finna boss me.
Yeah, that's
definitely
free
think
game.
that.
If you know how to
They
use your
definitely think that.
femininity right, not only will you get your way, but a man will happily give it to you.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. So
I
a
can see
mature woman knows how. I like that. Be the neck.
Be the neck.
Be the neck.
Not the
That's what
rolling
I'm
neck,
talking
though.
about.
Not the
Not the
rolling
rolling
neck. No,
neck.
not the rolling
Not
neck.
that.
Not the rolling neck. Not the
Not
rolling neck.
So what about shacking?
Any shackers?
I'm gonna just
Here?
be quiet.
Well,
I'm not shaking now. No,
It's okay to share
You've
your
been delivered?
experiences.
I've been
It's been
delivered.
delivered.
I'm not shacking no more. I'm been delivered. Oh Lord, Lord, if Andrew Caldwell see this, he gon' get us for copyright
For
infringement.
copyright infringement. We do not own the rights
Do not
to that
come-
statement.
Do not come for.
But
Now, you want to talk
that's
about some
such
neck
a-
rolling?
That's
Wait,
such
don't do
a that's such an everyday occurrence now, though.
What,
Like,
shaking?
yeah. And if you don't know shacking, I mean, I think everybody knows what shacking means, but if you don't know, living together, we're talking about living together when you are not married. If you are a couple, if you are dating someone and you are living with them and you guys are not married, that's what we're talking about.
But I mean, is that really shacking though? Because
Now-
you can live with somebody.
Now, technically, the
can
Bible
have
does
a
not
roommate.
say anything about living with a mate before marriage, because it can be suggested that Mary and Joseph lived together before they were married. So technically, the Bible doesn't say anything against it. But if you're having sex with your roommate,
That's not cool.
might have a little something.
Y'all Googling stuff. Y'all know they look.
You pull up shacking.
They done went to
You pull it up.
Googling. They done went to Googling, y'all. But no,
Shacking, you know what? That doesn't even appear to be a real. That's a traditional word. It appears to be.
Oh, most
because
definitely.
I don't even see. You know.
you thought that was in the Bible?
No, I didn't look it up in the Bible. I looked up on Google. You know, Google. Maybe we should ask Siri. Ask Siri.
Siri, because she was trying to butt in a minute ago,
I need
right?
to ask Siri what's shacking.
But I mean, shacking. Now, y'all, I just learned this recently, like that wasn't in the Bible because
well,
my parents put the fear of God in me, and I just knew that was in the Bible, like plain. That said it just like that. Do not shack. But at the same time, the Bible does say that we should like avoid the appearance of certain things, and also if you know, come on, let's be real. If you're living with somebody that you are highly attracted to, then there's only certain things that are probably going to occur naturally. So I would just say, regardless, don't even put yourself in that situation.
Right. Now I have a friend that recently told me that when she got engaged to her boyfriend, fiance, and before they got married, they did live together. And she was like, well, you know, if you've made a commitment to each other, then why can't you just go ahead and live together? And I mean, and she probably felt that way because 9 times out of 10, I can't confirm or deny this. I never asked, never will, but like they probably were having sex anyways at that point. So, you know, since we've already done that, why not?
Yeah, I
just
think people do
live
tend
together?
to say, well, I'm already, you know, doing everything else. So
Yeah.
You know, what's the point?
What's the point?
And then there was another example. Someone posted on my Facebook page. I think this was a question that I posed on my Facebook page some time ago. And one person said that the lease was up. They had a wedding date that was about 3 months out of the way. And his lease was up. And his thought was it would be crazy for him to renew his lease knowing that he was getting ready to get married in 3 months, and his fiance had an apartment, or had a house rather, so just moved in with his fiance at the time and then they stayed together until they got married. So what do you think about in instances like that? So would you have said that he should have, you know, stayed with the family member until they got married?
That's what I was gonna say. I mean, it depends on. Like I said, some people are not gonna feel like they're already doing stuff, and they're not really trying to do it the Christian way. But if you're trying to do the Christian way, then I'm gonna advise you to probably stay with your family. That's what I did. I just stayed with my mother until but I moved my stuff in there. You know. Majority of my stuff in the house. We got a house before we got married, and he moved in the house, and I moved into. I was already staying with my mother, but she moved to another place. So we both moved. She got a new house, and we got a new house. But I still went with her to her new house. I guess I could have been like, well, you're moving too. If I got to move, I might as well just move into my own house. But I did. I stayed with her, you know. Because, like I said, I mean, it's gonna.
Now, for
You
those
already know what.
go ahead, Pam,
you already
I'm
know
sorry.
what's gonna be.
Well, I'm gonna say this. It's some real life stuff now. Y'all know I'm tell y'all everything.
No judge zone.
But I'm gonna say this. Back 10 years ago, actually, me and the father of my children, we did move in together. That's because we did plan to get married before that month was actually out. But I will tell y'all this is no lie, like straight up for real. I remember it like yesterday. I was standing in line at Target. And I was so excited that, oh my God, I got this new apartment. We're moving in, da 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 da. And this lady, I never seen her before in my life. I've never seen her again. And she said, oh, you're moving. I said, yeah, me and my dude, we're moving in together. You know, we're going to get married, blah, blah, blah. She looked me square in the eye. I never seen this lady before in my life. She said, baby, do not move in with that man. You're going to have bad luck. Bad things are going to come to follow. So, you know, me being me, I'm like, you don't even know me. Like, what you talking about? Like, what are you talking about?
I'm surprised you didn't say it too.
I think I did. But, I mean, you know, I just took it with a grain of salt. Like, this lady don't know me. She don't know nothing. Who are you? Who sent you?
You don't know my life.
But, right. So, I went on my little married little way. We moved in together. And over a course of time, things started happening that I was thinking, like, well, maybe it'll get better. You know, we just never lived together. We're still kind of young. You know, we're young parents because we got kids. But I thought, okay, well, it'll just get better. And then I started thinking about that lady. I said, that lady done spoke all kind of bad luck over my life. Who is she? You know, thinking like, you know, I'm finna go fight her. But we ended up going our separate ways. Like, he went one way, I went another way. We no longer live together. But I will say that that little time frame in staying together did teach me, hey, well, maybe we should look at this from a different angle. Maybe if we would have moved in together, maybe we would have been married before we moved in. We wouldn't have had a choice but to say, hey, we got to stay and fight. We got to figure this out. Instead of, I'm not doing this no more. I'm out.
Right.
So, yeah, I can see, you know, it was definitely a learning experience. But I will say in my mind, I did have my mind made up that, hey, yeah, we need to live together because I need to know who you are. You need to know who I am.
I was about to say, a lot of people feel like that.
Yeah, but now after the fact, it's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that again.
I mean,
I've never lived with someone, but, you know, I've stayed with people over the weekend. I've had people stay with me over the weekend. And you'd be surprised what you learn about a person when you just have a person stay over the weekend. So I'm not going to say, so people love to say the thing like, I need to know what they're like at home. Trust me, stay with them for a weekend. You'll learn. And do it often enough. You'll learn.
You definitely will learn that
First of all, I believe, and I'm married. Y'all, people keep talking about you need to see about what this person is like before you get married. If y'all in a relationship,
right,
you lying if you saying that you don't know. Then you ain't been paying attention. That's how you been dating somebody,
right?
I mean, other than the little
and
stuff.
You ain't learned none of that idiosyncrasies.
Come on, it's not.
You ain't learned. Come on, man.
I did not live with my husband before. Like I said, before we got married, I did not live with him. I had already done did enough, y'all. Okay, I'm gonna just be real with you. I had already done did enough, and I felt like that wasn't something that I wanted to add on to the list of things that I already had done.
Right.
So, but when we moved together, it really wasn't that big. We never lived together, and it wasn't that much of a difference. I mean, yeah, like little petty stuff, like he said I walk too hard. You gonna divorce me because I walk too hard? You gonna divorce somebody because they leave the toilet seat up? I mean,
that is rough
outside
though.
A little petty.
You been feeling that toilet?
And yeah,
that's petty though.
I can imagine a woman being so
that's
mad
petty.
she fall in the toilet seat.
Oh, most definitely. That
you might
piss you
off.
off.
You like, are you for real right now?
But like, there's nothing about him that I can say that I didn't really know, other than the little petty stuff that you ain't got no business. If the petty stuff break you, then you went down. You went down to begin with. You know what I'm saying? That ain't what a marriage is about. If the little petty stuff get under your skin and cause you to get a divorce, then that one who you need to be with in the first place. Y'all shouldn't even got married. But I didn't live together, and I just didn't have that experience. I pretty much felt like he was the same person that I had knew all the rest of the time. Yeah, he might have some irritating ways. I'm sure I do too. So I'm sure
I has too. Confirmed yes in the background.
Ain't nobody else said that. But yeah, people just people kill me with it. Oh, you need to know this person. No, you should have been paying attention.
And you definitely need to pay attention
You
to
shouldn't have been getting caught up in the superficial. You should have been paying attention to all that
How they
stuff
treat
all
their
along
family.
the way.
Yes, look at their upbringing, number one. Look at the upbringing. Number two, look at their family. I know you ain't supposed to be, but you going to marry this family too. Look at their family.
That's what you're really doing when you get married. You're marrying the other person's family.
Yeah, look at their family.
Really doing.
I knew about his family. Like, now me and my husband dated we did date a long time. But I mean, honestly, I would say within the first year or two, I pretty much knew a lot. The rest of them 3 years was just, I was ready. I was ready. I was just waiting. But I pretty much knew about his family. I pretty much knew how he was. I mean, you just got to pay attention.
Definitely.
You have to pay attention.
Definitely pay attention.
So I don't necessarily feel like you have to live with somebody. I don't feel like you got to live with nobody to know how they are before you should marry them. So I think that's just a cop out.
Right. And I'm going to say what I saw Oprah posted a couple of days ago.
Oh, Jesus.
Oprah posted, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the very first time. Don't wait for second, third, fourth, fifth, 10.
Yeah, sometimes
20th,
if we be honest,
believe 'em.
We saw some signs about some stuff long before we got married. But sometimes we might want to get married. As women, I think we're worse about that than men. We just want to be married. And don't let us have a little age on this.
Yeah, and then some of them just
our
want
biological clock done started ticking.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
Some of them just want to win.
But see, they say there's an old saying that says love is blind. I don't believe love is blind. Lust is.
Lust, yeah.
Oh, definitely. Lust is very
Lust is
blind. So don't get caught up in the lust and pay attention.
True love, according to the Bible, ain't blind at all. It's gonna show you everything.
Yeah, I agree with you, Wesley.
And to look, I think this may be the most you said I agree with you, Wesley, one day ever in life. Hell is getting a few snow flurries today. Jesus. Hey God, won't he do it?
All right.
So the Bible says, when it concerns premarital sex, Matthew 19:4-5, have you not read that he who made them at the beginning made them male and female? For this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. Otherwise, saying that whenever you unite with someone, married or not, you become one flesh with them. It's a very sobering thought for those of us who have engaged in sex outside of marriage. It's a very sobering thought when you think about the people that you've been with, that you have become one flesh with. Very sobering thought. That's enough reason alone as to why we shouldn't engage in sex outside of marriage. That's why God designed sex to be between a man and a wife, because whether you realize it or not, you are becoming one with a person. And sex nowadays, due to the culture, and it's nothing new. It's nothing new. It even goes all the way back to Bible days.
Yep.
But especially nowadays, sex has become so recreational and so cultural that there's no sacredness in it. God really created it to be a beautiful binding, not just of reproduction, but a beautiful, but a way of making a covenant with your spouse. And it has been distorted to so many other things nowadays.
It has.
To where it's so recreational. It's almost as random and as recreation as going to spin class on Saturday morning.
Yep. That's true. I definitely agree on that.
So now that you've opened that up, Aleia, you want to talk about soul ties? We should talk about soul ties.
You told me about it, so you should talk about that.
About soul ties. So it was introduced to me about soul ties.
Let's talk about soul ties, yes.
About, like you saying, sleeping with this person, sleeping with that person. The transferring spirits.
Right.
To one another. You have to be careful with that.
Very careful.
You sure do.
Because you may get somebody that doesn't have the same beliefs as you or the same
morals, values, standards.
Even positivity. You can transfer negative energy.
Let's show you. Let me show you an ocular demonstration of that. Did any of you all watch Greenleaf?
I think I watched part of it.
Okay, so for those of you that don't watch Greenleaf, this young lady, she's like 16 or 17. Her name is Zora. She has a boyfriend named Isaiah, and she lost her virginity to this gentleman. Now he's very, very abusive. And, you know, he has put his hands on her before. Now, normally, you're thinking, okay, if you put your hands on me, then I'm not going to have anything to do with you ever again. Don't leave me alone. Don't ever call me again normally. Nope. And you have to keep in mind, this is her first and only. And she's run away with him. She has, when her parents have put her on restrictions, she has sneaked to text him and communicate with him and declared that she loves him and is going to be with him. And I believe that the story is suggesting, because Zora has just created a soul tie with this abusive gentleman, that no matter what he does to her, it's hard for her to leave, because she has literally created a soul tie with this one person. And then to add to it, this is the only person she has created this soul tie with. So that is a strong bond there that she's created with this gentleman that perhaps God didn't intend for her to be with. And then not only that, she's stealing money from the church. She's stolen money from the church. She's hiding stuff from her parents. She's cursing. She's taking on the attitude of her boyfriend. So what that is to me is that's an ocular demonstration of what can happen when you give yourself to the wrong person. You take on that person's character traits. You take on that person's actions. You take on that person's spirituality. Because it's literally a transfer of spirits.
Right.
That's right. So you have to be careful about that.
Yeah, and it actually says a soul tie is a linkage in the soul realm between two people that actually brings their souls together, which can either bring forth beneficial results or negative results.
That's right.
So you got to be extra careful with that, because you would definitely hate to turn into that person that you messing with. I would hate for you to run up on a dope boy and be looking for a hope boy.
Oh my God. Really, Pam? Really, Pam? You are so crazy.
Wow.
I was just saying, you just got to be extra careful of who you give yourself to. If you're young and you're watching this, don't do it.
Right, because we can laugh all day, but girls really be seeking dope boys or drug dealers, for those who don't know what we mean by dope boys.
Grown women be seeking them people out.
Right, because of the money and the image, and like I said, getting caught up in the exterior.
You know what, guys? Let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about the type of guys that women seek out, or for that matter, the type of women guys seek out. As Christians, you would think that a Christian would be attracted to another Christian, but you'll see someone, and we've all seen it. You'll see someone that's in church every Sunday, loves God and singing in the choir and all the other stuff, but yet you go home and their husband's not in church. You go home and you see their husband is thugged out to the utmost, and
well, y'all listen, y'all don't see my husband at church, but he ain't no dope boy. And he ain't no thug either.
So what type of woman? We talked earlier about what type of partner Christians should seek out, but from your observation and your circle of friends and things of that nature, what type of guys do your fellow Christian female friends actually seek out? Do y'all like the nice, clean cut guy, or do you want someone that may not necessarily be a thug, but has thug in them, that kind of thing?
I mean, I think that all of us are human, and sometimes we fall in the. It don't matter if you're a Christian or a non-Christian. Sometimes we just fall in love with the wrong people for the wrong reasons. So I think it doesn't. Just because you're a Christian. I mean, I have both. I have friends that are married to people who are, Christian guys, and I have friends who are married to not so Christian. I mean, they might be a Christian, but they may not really act like a Christian. You know what I'm saying? They might be on somebody's role, but they may not really be acting.
Yep, she said it.
Yeah, come on. I mean, y'all know. Y'all don't act like y'all don't know people who are on somebody's role, and they probably about to get kicked off the role. Or they don't know it. What do you call them? CME, Christmas, Mother's Day, Easter. And so they don't really have Christian characteristics, but they false claiming.
Yeah.
Well, I will say when I was a lot younger, I did like the bad boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we
then I dated a pretty boy. My boy. But then
so silly.
But then I would never want to have kids with a bad boy, because I don't want them to think that's okay, I know we got to meet people where they are. Per Aleia.
We should meet people, but that don't mean you gonna be in a relationship with them.
But I
believe that when women are looking for that, and like I said, I'm just saying from the outside looking in, it seems like when a woman's looking for that kind of thing, she's looking for excitement and a good time, not necessarily a future.
Right. She ain't really worried about them Christian. She just kind of lost sight of them Christian.
Yeah, that was back in high school,
values.
When we really didn't, back in high school, you think you want Mr. Popular, whether he good, bad, definitely not ugly. But, yeah, but as I got older, I went through stages where, you want somebody clean cut that you can take home to mommy and daddy. Because my daddy is very judgmental. So I did, in high school, I tried to date this.
Your daddy gonna get you for saying that.
I know, right? Don't sue me. But I tried to date this bad boy, let me tell y'all. And my parents are always the parents that would take us places, like my friends. We went to go pick this dude up. I'm not going to say from where because I don't want to put nobody's hood down. But he got in the car. I was like 15. I think I was like 15. This dude dropped a whole pack of Newports in the back of our Suburban. And I didn't know. We was just going to the mall in the movies. And oh my, when I got home, I will say at least he kept it together. But boy, when I got home, where did you meet somebody like that?
Yep.
You don't talk to people like that. You don't associate yourself, because association is affiliation, and they gonna go to jail and you going to jail and they ain't getting yapped.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, no more bad boys. We got to get somebody. We got to clean them up a little bit. Make sure
All right.
It's not that guy.
All right, we got to put a bow on this, y'all. We got to put a bow on this. 90 seconds of real talk. Aleaia's going to give us 90 seconds of real talk to summarize everything we talked about. Aleia, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, Aleia, 90 seconds. Go.
Let's be real. We are living in an over-sexualized society where these days any and everything goes. Real relationships are hard to come by because our values are so distorted. Side chicks, cut buddies, baby daddies, /mamas, and people shacking seem to have replaced any hope of successful marriages. Don't get me wrong, we all make mistakes, and although God definitely forgives us, there can be tough consequences to face for being out of order, some of which could be very life-altering. Ask me how I know. As Christians, we need to abide by God's guidelines for our relationships. We need to learn how to put God first and to love ourselves before we can truly love others. It doesn't matter what society says, y'all. It matters what God says.
Yes.
If you really want to see your relationships blossom, try your best to follow God's guidelines. Find someone who shares your same Christian values and build healthy Christian relationships. Real talk.
All right. We hope you have been blessed by this episode of Christians Want Real Relationships. Next time we're on, we look forward to seeing you. We hope to be on next week. stay tuned to our Facebook page to find out what we're going to talk about next.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And again, like and subscribe. If you liked it, hit the like button on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to us. We're on iTunes. We're on Google Play. We're on Spotify. We're on Amazon. Just tell Alexa to play Real Talk for the Christian Walk. You can listen to us on all of those platforms, guys. You can listen to us on all of those platforms. And please support us. If you want to support us, our Cash App is Real Christian Talk. Our Cash App is Real Christian Talk. We would love to up our production value. We want to do more things. We want to actually physically meet you. But of course, that all takes money to do those things. So if you've been blessed by our podcast, feel free to Cash App us at Real Christian Talk.
Buy a t-shirt, anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
We
We got on this Walk That Talk t-shirt. I think our last episode, Leah had on a shirt that said Jesus is the realest. Those are available. So if you want one, send us a DM. We'll make sure you get one for the right price, of course. All right.
Topics. Tell them to email us topics too.
Yeah. Let us know what you want us to talk about. All right. So we look forward to seeing you guys on the next time. And until then, don't just talk the talk, but walk the talk.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.